What's up guys, name is Dre and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Bennett is the best supporter in the game. In today's showcase, I want to show you that. So let's talk about his talents real quick before we hop into some weapons, artifacts and team build recommendations. Alright, as always, I did level up all his talents up to level 6. So because we are talking about support Bennett, you shouldn't level up the auto attack. This was just because I also did make a showcase for main DPS Bennett. So if you want to look at that, I did make a video yesterday, so you can just check that out. So usually what you only need, if you really only want to make the minimal investment, you only need to level up his ultimate. You do not really need to level up his E. If you only want to really do minimal investment for his support, he will work quite well because I did work with him for a long period of time, only having the ultimate up to level 6 if you want to like keep some of your resources. So I just want to go over the abilities real quick. So his E ability is, this one. So it is like the normal E, and then is the charged E, where he is doing this one. Yeah, he's getting a bit of knockback damage. It has a very low cooldown, so this one just has a cooldown of like 4 to 5 seconds. So here it is 5 seconds. If you do it on level 2, 7.5 seconds. If you do it on level 3, 10 seconds. Yeah, his ultimate, this is the thing that makes Bennett the best supporter in the game. It has a heal and an attack buff in its kit. So if you're below 70%, he will heal, and if you're above 70%, you will get an attack bonus based on Bennett's base attack. So for his other talents, Passion Overload cooldown is decreased by 20%, so that's why it only has 4-second cooldown. This one is also really good because it does decrease the cooldown for your E ability if you are during the circle of your ultimate, and this one is also not bad. Okay, let's talk about weapon recommendations if you are running a support Bennett. So Favonius Sword is a very good one. So it depends if you want to have a lot of energy recharge, then Favonius Sword is definitely the way to go because it really has a lot of energy recharge. If you crit, you have a 60% chance to regenerate a elemental orb. This is very good because then you will get even more energy recharge. Another weapon that I would recommend for DPS Bennett is Sacrificial Sword. This one gives you the cooldown reset on your E for a 40% chance if you have it at Refinement Rank 1, which I see as the most realistic one for every player. So if you just use your E twice, you can get also back a little bit more of energy recharge, but it doesn't have as much energy recharge as the Favonius Sword. So this is a bit more of a preference. I would actually stick to, I don't know, I would have to test the Sacrificial Sword, but I can imagine that this works out a bit better than the Favonius Sword because Favonius Sword has to crit. But I think both weapons are really fine. Even better than that is if you have it the Skyward Blade with energy recharge. It increases also your crit rate, it has a lot of energy recharge, and also it gives you some additional buffs to your ultimate, like increasing movement speed, increasing attack speed, and increasing the damage of normal and charge attacks by 20%. So this is also very strong for Bennett if you want to use him as a support. Yeah, other than that, I wouldn't really recommend any other weapon. So I would really stick to Favonius Sword, Sacrificial Sword, and Skyward Blade in terms of weapons. So let's talk about artifact builds. So if you run DPS Bennett, there is just one set that you really can run, and it is full Noblesse or Bleach. So I wouldn't really recommend to run the Crimson Witchblade, then you would go more for a sub DPS, main DPS route. But if you want to go for a full support DPS, Noblesse or Bleach is the only thing that is really good on him. Reason why is you want to have the passive of the 4-piece set, which using an elemental burst increases all party members' attack by 20% for 12 seconds. This effect cannot stack, but what it can do is it is stacked with his ultimate. So his ultimate is, as I already said, an attack buff. Using it is the elemental burst, his ultimate. You can increase your party members' attack additionally by 20% and by the amount of Bennett, and that synergizes really well with his ultimate. Another thing on that is you do not have to invest in his pieces at all. So what I want to show you is, of course, I have some pieces invested because these are some pieces that I have left over from all my sets. So you can just watch the substats real quick. So this is only +5 It doesn't have any investment. This has energy recharge. You do not need energy recharge on Bennett, but when you use a Favonius sword, if you use a sacrificial sword, maybe, but because of his substat is already energy recharge, I think I would go more with attack percentage. The only reason why I use energy recharge is because it is my only leveled up piece right now. All the others are +0, but it doesn't really matter. I still would go for pyro bonus damage on the goblet, not on attack percentage, because attack percentage increases the damage just by a very small amount, so it doesn't make up really a lot of the damage. For the Royal Mask, I still go with the crit rate one, but you can really put anything on him. So the big thing on support Bennett is you just have to have a 4-piece Noblesse of Bleach set and it will make him work. Doesn't matter how the substats and all the other stats are. Of course, it is preferred to have attack percentage here, to have pyro bonus damage here, and still to have crit rate or crit damage here, depending on which you, depending on how your substats rolled. Attack percentage on this is also fine if your subsets are good enough. So we can have a look now. He has 15,000 HP, so this is enough to stay alive. He has 700 attack, nearly 700 defense, 82 elemental mastery, which really doesn't matter if he is the support. You want to have a bit more than 50% crit rate so he can crit a little bit more consistently. Crit damage is very low, just 74%, so this can be a lot higher. So let's say you want to have like still 100% crit damage, 50% crit rate. This is like the optimal way. If you cannot afford this, it doesn't really matter because he is still your support character. Energy recharge, you only want to have like nearly 200%. So this is like an overkill. This is too much. You don't want to have over 200% energy recharge. So like 180, 190 is quite enough for him. You do not want to have really more of that. Pyro bonus damage, of course, can be more, but the goblet is not leveled up. So what I want to do now is that I want to show you that just a random Noblesse of Bleach set can work. Because he is the support for this showcase, he won't have much screen time. So let's go over some team builds first. Let's talk about the constellations first. So I did talk about this also in my main DPS showcase. Constellation 1 is his most broken one because you will get rid of the restriction on the HP. So as I already mentioned, if you have lower than 70% HP, you will get the heal, and only if you are above 70% HP, you will get the attack buff if he is Constellation 0. If you are Constellation 1, you don't have the restriction on the HP buff any longer, and additionally you get 20% more. So this goes off with this ultimate, so you have an ultimate buff that is buffed by 20%, then you get 20% buff of your Noblesse of Bleach set. That will give your main DPS a very big increasement. Constellation 2, if he falls below 70%, he gets more energy recharge. It is quite nice because then you can ult more often, you can heal your team, you can buff your team more often. This is for all characters. You level up the E ability by 3 talent levels. This one is very good. Using a normal attack when executing the second attack of Passion Overload's charge level 1 allows an additional attack to be performed. So maybe like 2 charges if you use that. So it is a bit like a budget sacrificial sword, if you want to call so. Then we have the 5th constellation leveling up his ultimate by 3 talent levels. So this one is actually huge because his ultimate is the most important ability. This one is the worst constellation. So if you have him, or if you have the chance to make your Bennett Constellation 6, I would actually not do it because you want him to be more flexible. Doing this, your ultimate will give all your characters pyro damage. And if you want to be more flexible, you don't want to make use out of the pyro damage, even though it gives 15% pyro bonus damage. So actually, C5 Bennett is the perfect spot for him if you have him there. Alright, for today's showcase, we have a C0 Bennett. Let's go into some team builds. Okay, in today's showcase, I want to show Bennett off with this team. Klee as my main DPS, Child as my secondary DPS, Bennett as my healer and utility supporter, as well as Zhongli, who gives Klee a shield so she can live a little bit longer. So this team is like not quite well. It only has elemental resonance by putting in 2 fire characters, so I get the 25% attack buff. But he's mainly there to buff Child and Klee, and we want to see like the damage numbers of those 2 characters by Bennett's buff. You want to build him more properly as a support character then. the thing on Bennett is he is like the most versatile character. So you can put him literally in any of your team combo if you miss out on a healer, if you miss out on fire, if you miss out on utility in general. So you never would make something wrong if you put Bennett into your team, because he has an attack buff and he has a heal. And in addition that, he is from the Pyro element, which is the most relevant element currently in the game. So what I want you to do is actually, he does work very well with Mona, so you can have 2 amplifiers in your team, so you can increase your damage with these 2 characters. So I think this is one of the strongest duos in the game. If you do not have Mona, alternatively you can use Shinchu, so you can have very, very consistent supporters, very nice utility with these 2 characters. And besides these 2 characters, you can put in any of the 2 damage dealers, so you can literally choose anyone that you want. So I can choose, for example, Beidou and Klee, and after this I would have a really strong team. I can also replace Klee with any other damage dealer, any other DPS that I want to. So for example, I can choose Child on that spot if I like to. Yes, another good thing on Bennett is that he has because of the fire element, you can put him with elemental resonance. So for example, you can put him along with Qingling, so you get the 25% attack buff. This does go very well with his ultimate and the 4-piece noblesse set, so you get attack buffs over attack buffs. So this is something that I can recommend, but I also can recommend to put him with Melt. So you can also, even if he is a support, put him in as a elemental trigger for your Melt reaction, and then you can go off with your DPS to do some nice damaging numbers. Yeah, so as I already said, it doesn't really matter who you pick to put in with Bennett. So there are of course some preferred combos, like I said, with Mona or with Shinchu, that does increase, for on the one hand, your vaporized damage, your amplified damage, and so on. But because Bennett has so much utility, you literally can put him in any spot and he will do fine. Because of that, I want to show you guys the damage numbers of these 2, and let's hop into some gameplay. Alright, to make it fair, I want to show off the raw damage numbers of Klee and Child first. So you can just see the damage numbers from Klee right now. Charged attack, 10,000 crit. Charged attack. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay, let's go away and do the same for Child. Alright guys, so you can see there's no elemental reaction. Let's run away a bit from this. And then we want to see the auto attacks for Child, but of course we want to use his E ability. We do not use ultimates from these 2 characters. So Child does like 4 to 5k. Let's say 3 to 5k. Okay, this time we're using Bennett. So 1845 attack. Let's go in with Bennett's ult, swap back to Klee, and see, she has 2300 attack with this artifact set. So you can see it right here, I just used the same artifact set like I did before, and we have an increase of nearly 500 attack with Novelist of Bleach set and with the ultimate from Bennett. So let's use the attack, see the damage numbers, 12,000 on crit. Okay guys, let's do it all off again. So charged attack of crit, 7,000 on crit. Okay, let's wait for him to use his moves. Swap to Bennett, go to Klee, and charged attack is now 12,000. So let's do the same with Child. 2281 attack. Let's do some auto attack solo. So I just want to show you the numbers again properly. So it is like 3000 to 5000 damage for his normal attacks. Let's go back, swap to his melee stance. So we are off cooldown a bit. Let's use Bennett ultimate, swap back to Child and see his numbers. 2800, so it is a 500 increase. Go into the melee stance and see the damage numbers. So now it is more like 4k to 6k, so more 4000 to 6000. There is a very high increase, so it is an increasement of like 1000 damage just using this. It was the same for Klee, So for Klee it was a bit more. So her charge attack on crit did like 7,000, and on crit with Bennett buff it did like 12,000. For Child it was like more 3,000 to 5,000, and now after Bennett's buff it was like 4,000 to 5,000. But the multiplier for Child is of course a lot lower, and he can auto attack way more often than Klee can do. Yeah. I think this sums it up already. I don't want to show off more, so you can just see how strong the ultimate does work, how much it does increase the effect. And yeah, tips I can give you is, if you want to like maximize his support damage, then put in some elemental reactions, especially Vaporize and Melt, which are the strongest elemental reactions in the game. If you do not want to work with these, I think you can work with literally anything as long as it is an elemental reaction. But as long as you put Bennett in, you won't make anything wrong. This character is so broken. So if you want to ask yourself, if you want to summon for this guy who is currently on Albedo's banner when the video is live, I would recommend to do it actually, because you will have so much value out of this 4-star unit. Also, you have very good chances to pull him. And that's it already for Bennett Support Showcase. If you guys did enjoy today's video, like, comment, and subscribe. It would help me out a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more Genshin Impact content, videos should pop up on the screen right now. Make sure to check them out, and I thank you for your support.